Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the last class, so we introduced the concept of the dimensionality reduction techniques, that is this principal component analysis, and we have studied that in any geometric representations, that how you could understand the basic concept of principal component analysis, and that it is nothing but that you need to find the directions with the maximum variance. So this each principal component that you are going to have, it is simply you will have the eigenvectors. For each eigenvector, we will have some eigenvalues, and these variance directions having variance. So that it is called the principal component. Okay, and how to find the directions? Well, that is it comes under this computing these eigenvectors and eigenvalues from the covariance matrix that we'll see. So practically, so you will have one assignment in the next class in lab. So that is you have seen there is a 4 satellite images. Okay, so this is 4-dimensional feature vector that you have already seen. You have to apply PCA on this 4-dimensional feature vector. Okay, and considering all the data points, okay, whether it is a river or non-river, so it doesn't matter, because as here we are considering as unsupervised things. Okay, and you have to apply PCA, and you'll have to see that which dimensions provides you more important information and which dimension will preserve the maximum information of the data. So you are looking for that dimension which will preserve maximum information of a data. So that is your main job. So this is the assignment that I'll explain to you after this class. Okay. So now firstly you need to understand the concept of curves of dimensionality. So now this is a common term that you oftenly come across this term in many literatures or any book like this curves of dimensionality. This is very common term. So now this curves of dimensionality occurs that there's a increasing the number of features. So we have some hypothetical concepts that if you have more number of features, so your classification accuracy will be more. Okay, but all the time, so this case is not like that. So increasing the number of features will not necessarily always improve the classification accuracy. Okay, so it may so happen if you just increasing the features, okay, without investigating this that whether these features are really important to lead to improve this classification accuracy or not, then obviously you will attract more misclassification error. So now it's better that you have to study these features. So there is a very important concept is called the feature selections. You need to first understand today the distinction between the feature selection and feature extractions. So so few people will have some idea that both are same, but both are not the same. Feature selection is different than the feature extractions. Okay, and we'll see here this year that we will apply this is a feature selection, and in practice the inclusion of more feature might actually lead to this worse performance. It may so happen, but provided that if you have some prior study of the data points that you have, and the number of, if you increase the number of training samples, I mean, increasing the training sample means you are going to incur, I mean, you are going to increase, this is a dimensionality is also going to increase. So now if it is written by dimensionality is denoted by D, and as you can see, there is a different bins are there. Firstly, you have the x1, this is a single dimension. Now you are going to x2. I mean, if you have 2 dimensions, now in the 2 dimensions, that is if you have the k number of bins, I mean, if the k is a number of bins per features, then if you have this 3, if you consider as a bin size is 3, then 3 square, this is 3 cube. I mean, you are going to just increase that many training samples. Okay, and it is an exponentially the dimensionality is going to be improved over easy. But after increasing these things, suppose you have a capital N number of features. Now, do you really think that all capital N dimension features are really important? So that is the main concern that you have to see. So that is the important thing. Say, if you have some there is a concept is called the redundant features. Okay. So now redundant features, and how do you remove the redundant features? So how do you detect the redundant features? Can anyone tell me? Redundant features.
Can use correlation matrix.
So covariance matrix.
Oh.
No. I mean, I'm asking you this. How do you understand the concept of redundant features? Anyone? Any idea?
So unnecessary features that increase dimensionality.
Mathematically, how do you? Understand that these features are called redundant features.
So p-value.
Huh?
Dependent. The features are dependent, more dependent. Then it's a redundant.
Yes. One term that is it's called the dependent. Okay.
Yeah, features are dependent.
Means
if independent means they are redundant.
Okay, so somehow you are correct like that. Suppose the redundant means you can have the unnecessary information. Suppose so now the features are called redundant when you have the linear relationship exist between two features. Then
Yes,
these
sir.
features are called redundant. That you are called the dependent. Okay. So now, so it is very important. Now, if you find that if you have this linear relationship, suppose you have x capital X is you have some values 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, another feature capital Y, if it is a linear combination of x, it will represent 2x minus 1. Okay, so x and if you take either x or y, so you'll have the same values. So that's why it is called the redundant features. Means if you find the linear relationships, I mean this one feature is dependent on another features. Okay, then the features is called the dependent. And there is another is called this noisy features. Okay, it means there are some features that you which are not needed. Okay, is called that these noisy features. Okay, so we'll see all these things, but redundant features is very important because if you try to understand in terms of the mathematical perspective, so redundant features means if you find any linear relationship between these two features, then these two features are called redundant. So you can preserve any one of the features. Okay. Now your objective is that what is your main objective? Then you'll have to choose an appropriate set of features, or you'll have to choose the optimum set of features of lower dimensionality. Okay. Now and to improve the classification accuracy. So your objective is to improve the classification accuracy, and you'll have to preserve only that features which are optimal in nature with the lower dimensionality. So it is not like that you can whimsically you can choose those features. So you have to choose those features in such ways so it will optimum features as well as it improves the classification accuracy. So that is that we are going to apply the PCA. Okay. So now there is a two important concept is called the feature extraction and the feature selection. These are the important things. So whenever if you see feature extractions, it means that you are trying to find a new set of features. You are trying to find a new set of features through some mapping functions. This mapping can be a linear mapping or it may be a non-linear mapping. Okay, so that it finds a set of new features through some mapping functions from the existing feature. Now, so if you have this capital X n-dimensional features x1 to xn, and you are going to apply some functions. So this if is a function of x. and this function may be a linear function or it may be a nonlinear function, then it will generate a new set of features. That is y is equal to y1 to yk, where k is less than, I mean, to n. Okay. So then you are trying to generate a new feature. So this is called the feature extraction. And feature selections kya hai? You have a set of features. Okay, feature selection, and you'll have to choose a subset of the original features. Okay, that you are going to have using this PCA. Okay, that you will have that x is equal to x1 to xn. Then you are going to have, this is a y is equal to yi x i1 x i2 then x i2. So this is k is less than of n. So this is called the feature selection. So now actually feature selection or some things that you can find that the feature principal component analysis can also be used. It is a feature extractions policy, because as we will be seeing, you will have the linear combination of things that we have. Actually, it is a feature extraction, not exactly the feature selection, because although if you apply the feature selection, there are different algorithms are there for the feature selection. Sequential forward selection, sequential backward selections, okay, LR method, I mean left and right methods, all of the things. For the feature selections things, you need to have a one criterion function. So based on this criterion function, you need to choose that features. Okay, that you are going to choose now from the x n dimensional features. You are trying to have the k dimensional feature. Now the k dimensional feature that you are going to choose, on what basis that you are going to choose? You need to satisfy some properties. Which properties? That which objective functions or which criterion function that you are going to apply, which necessarily be satisfied this property. But on the other hand, in the feature extractions, you'll have to find a new set of features through some mapping function. We'll see that after understanding, explaining these things, so you'll also get to know that PCA comes under feature selection or feature extraction. Now here, in the feature extraction, it may be a linear combination of feature or it may be a non-linear combination. But people are using the linear combinations because the linear combinations are particularly most attractive things, because they are very simpler to compute and you can easily compute it, and it is analytically more tractable. So I mean, mathematically also it is very easy to understand. So that's why you can have, I have the linear combination of feature. Suppose given if you have this n-dimensional real space that is in Rn, n-dimensional real space, and you are trying to find that k-dimensional features, that is a n cross, and this you are trying to find a one matrix, transformation matrix. So now this transformation matrix n cross a matrix U, such that this y is equal to U transpose into x. So these are this linear form. Okay, where this k, that the y x actually a n-dimensional feature, but after doing the transformations with this U transpose T, so this transformation matrix dimension is n cross k, and you are going to have this k dimensional features. Okay, and while k is less than of it. So now, as you can have, if you have n-dimensional features, then from the n-dimensional 1 cross n, then if you have this n cross k, then you are going to have the 1 cross k. So these are the things. So if you just see this matrix multiplication in this way also, you can have. Okay. So now this is actually a projection. So now you just try to understand the concept of the PCA from this geometrical representation that we have understand. So now what we have done, we have some set of points. So can anyone please switch off your mic? Okay. So now you have seen that you have one dimensions and your project. Okay, so you have projected all the data points into some other dimension, and you are just satisfying this perpendicularity property. I mean, means so whether these two dimensions are orthogonal or not, and you are finding this coordinate of these values. Then again, you are taking this another dimensions and you are projecting all this data into next dimensions. Then so on that you have continued. So this is the process that we have already done. So this is a projection. So now you are trying to project the n-dimensional data into k-dimensional data. But obviously, whenever you are going to project n-dimensional data, high-dimensional data into lower-dimensional data, obviously you'll be losing some information. That is for sure. But how much information you are going to lose, that you need to see. Okay, so that this maximum information of the data must be preserved. So that is your job. So now, how do you judge it? Then, for a mathematical point of view, that you have to find an optimal mapping. So that is y is equal to fx, that you have seen. That is this y is a function of x. It is equivalent to optimizing an objective function, or you can say the criterion function. So different methods use a different objective functions. Like if you have the information loss, that how much loss, we have already established one theory in the previous class. So how much loss is there? So you have this like the absolute error and the relative error that we have already found out. Okay. Suppose if you have choose the k principal component, then the error or the loss of the information, that is the absolute error and the relative error that you have already found out. So this is called the information loss, and the goal is that, what is the main goal to understand information loss, that to represent the data as accurately as possible. Okay, I mean, you are trying to preserve that dimensions in such a way so that the no loss of the information. I mean, actually, it is called no loss of the information in the lower dimension space. So you are trying to project this high dimensional data into a lower dimensional space. So obviously, some error will incur, and you need to find out. If you just optimize this information loss, then you'll see that how much loss is going to incur in the lower dimensional space. So that's what is called the one objective functions. Another is called the discriminatory information. So this goal is to enhance the class discriminatory informations in the lower dimensional space. So in the lower dimensional space, you'll have to see that how much the information that you have, that how much these informations are likely to discriminate between those two classes. So that is the class discriminating information. So now in this class, in this course, we will see only two techniques. So for the linear feature extraction method, actually we see this a feature extraction method, not this feature selections. Okay, so we'll commonly use this linear features extractions method. One is called the principal component analysis, PCA. So it seeks, or it is looking for your projections that preserve as much information in the data as possible. That is your job. So that's why you need to take care of it, the information loss in lower dimensional space. Okay, from this high dimensional space. Another important technique is called the linear discriminant analysis, that you already seen here. Discriminatory informations. So the goal is to enhance this class discriminatory informations in the lower dimensional space. So now in the linear discriminant analysis, it also looking for a projections that best discriminates the data. So you need to find this, understand the difference between PC and LDA, although both are used as a linear feature extraction method. So other interesting methods are also there. So that is called the projection pursuit, that you will have to read if you want to explore it. There is a written interesting direction. This is called the projection pursuit. This is a same. I mean, we'll have to find only that directions with the having maximum variance. Okay, so that is the interesting. So now direction means simply the direction we having variance. This is called the component. Okay, principal component means that is the direction having maximum variance. Okay, another is called the independent component analysis, or ICA. So here the making features as independent as possible. Okay, so you'll have to choose that dimensions which is given to the independent features. So that's why it is called independent component analysis. Another is called the embedding to lower dimensional manifolds. So there's isomer techniques, locally linear embedding, and ordinary. So those techniques can be used in the different research perspectives. So it is not necessarily true that all the techniques can be useful in any one of the data. So you'll have to understand, you'll have to see the characteristics of the data, nature of the data, and what are the property that the nature holds. Based on these things, you can apply these techniques. Okay, but here we'll only look after the PCA and NDA. So now PCA. So let's represent. You have the n-dimensional reals in here. You have this capital X. Okay, it is a n-dimensional real space, which is a linear combination of an orthonormal set of n basis vector. Okay, which being represented by V1, V2, and Vn in n-dimensional real space. So now, provided that the condition, if you just recall this condition of this PCA, that if you just we have written there's a different procedures in the last class that I explained. Okay, there are m features, or if you have the n features x1 to xn, and you have the covariance matrix m cross n, sigma m cross n is the covariance matrix where x1, x2, xm transpose is equal to x, and you'll have to find the eigenvalues of sigma. And let they be lambda1 is greater than is equal to lambda2 greater than is equal to lambda n greater than 0. Now let ai be the eigenvector which corresponding to lambda. So here we are going to have this and the basis vector. Okay, that is being represented by vi transpose into vj. So now we are considering that there are two cases. So no two eigenvectors are equal. It means that all the these eigenvectors are not same. If you prove it, no two eigenvectors are equal, then this is for the condition I is equal to j, then it is 1. If it is not equal, then it is 0. Then you can have the condition lambda1 greater than lambda2 greater than lambda n greater than 0. So we have already seen it. So these things is nothing but a ai transpose aj, simply written. So here it is written in different notation. So where x, as I already told you, so it is a linear combinations of orthonormal set of n basis vector. So as this is orthonormal combination of the n basis vector, then you have this summation of xi into vi. You have x1 v1 plus x2 v2 plus xn vn. So where x is equal to x transpose v. So we are just the denominator is just the normalizing to 1. I mean it is an unit vector. Okay, so that's why. I mean, or this let this one. So that is why we are using this v transpose t into vi. That's it. Okay, x transpose t vi divided by vi t into v, or you can simply write this is x transpose t into vi. You can write. So now PCA wants to it seeks to represent x in a new space of a lower dimensional space, where in the lower dimension that the data that you are going to have, so you have the k basis vector instead of n basis vector. In the n basis vector will be there in the original space, but whenever you are going to project this data into a new space, then the basis vector that you are going to have, that is k, where k is less than of n. Then you will have x hat. You know it is an x hat. So now you are just projecting the data into lower dimensional space. That is the dimension is k. X hat is equal to I is equal to 1 to k yi into mu I. Okay. So now you have y1 u1 plus y2 u2 plus yk into uk. We are just changing the notation of the basis vector. In the original it was v, and in the kw you will have this u. Okay. And such that, so what you have to do, you will have to minimize the information loss. So these are the things. So you'll have to have the equality of norm simply. That is the x minus x bar. You just take the difference, and it is a norm, and you know this already has the meaning of the norm. Such that x minus x hat, it has to be minimized. So this is for the information loss. From this actual and from the original, how much information is going to be lost. So that things must be minimized. So this is called the minimization of the information loss. Next, how should you determine the optimal lower dimensional space basis vector? Now you need to find out this u1, u2, and uk. So now these are the following ways to find out this optimal lower dimensional space basis vector. Now this optimal space of the lower dimensions can be defined by, you have to finding the eigenvectors ui, okay, and of the covariance matrix, that is sigma x, Okay, it is called, you have n cross n. So now finding this eigenvector ui of the covariance matrix of the data, that is a mu x, and which is sigma mu y is equal to, okay, lambda I into ui. This is a common formula that you know, and you have to choose the k largest eigenvectors, that is mu y. So this is the eigenvector. So now you have to find the k largest eigenvectors corresponding to k largest eigenvalues lambda. Okay. So now these things that you need to find out, and we refer to largest eigenvector mu1 as a principal component. So it is just as it is a vector. So vector, you will have the directions and you will have the value. So which value? There is an eigenvalue, the lambda 1, and you have a direction. So that is called a principal component. So it is none other than, it is an eigenvector, means it is a directions which will have the maximum variances. Okay, in that direction. And these values, eigenvalues that you can have, this is a diagonal elements. So you can choose it in this way. Now, what are the different steps to be executed to understand the concept of the PCA? Suppose you are given this m-dimensional data and you have n cross 1 vector, and you have to first compute the sample mean. So this is your first job. Step 1 is, means whatever data is given to you, you compute the sample mean. So you'll have to compute, this is a mean, I mean from this column wise mean that you have to compute. For if you have this n-dimensional feature vector, then you have this, for each column you have the different means, that is x is equal to 1 by m, I is equal to 1 to m xi. Okay. Now you have to subtract the sample mean. I mean, you are just trying to find this calibrate this data, or this like this center data at 0. So you are trying to do it is in 0 corrected, means you are trying to averaging all this data around this mean, so that you have to use this phi I is equal to xi minus xi. Okay, so it is for the 0 corrected data, means from the mean how much deviation is there, so that you are trying to find out first. So that's why this is called subtract this, means if any errors are there or any noises are there, it has to be, I mean, shifting towards this mean. So that's why this is an xi minus x bar. Okay, so that is called the subtract the sample mean. This is the next step, where this sigma hat is equal to simply nothing but I is equal to 1 by n, I is k is equal to 1 to n xk minus mu into xk minus mu transpose. So you know the already formula for this sigma. Now you have to compute this sample covariance matrix. So your next is you have to compute this sample covariance matrix sigma. So it is nothing but 1 by m I is equal to 1 to n phi I into phi I into phi I into phi I transpose. So it is nothing but 1 by m a into a transpose. So where a is equal to that you have phi 1, phi 2, phi m, which is a n cross n matrix. So you can, if you just use it, if you just whenever you are going to implement it now, so it will be more clear to you that how to compute it, all these things. So first steps, compute the mean. Second step, subtract the sample mean. Third step, compute the sample covariance matrix. This is step number 3. Fourth step, compute the eigenvalues and eigenvector of this sigma x. Okay, sigma x mu I is equal to lambda into mu I. Then we assume that this is a you have to arrange all the eigenvalues in a decreasing order. So lambda 1 greater than lambda 2 greater than lambda n, and mu 1, mu 2, mu n are the corresponding eigenvector. So now if you apply this MATLAB, there is a, or Python, so there is a eigenfunction will be there. So in the eigenfunction you pass this covariance matrix. It must be a square matrix, and you will get eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So I think so whenever you will be implementing it on the satellite images, so no need to write code for these computing eigenvalues and eigenvectors. You can directly use this inbuilt functions. Okay, but computing this covariance matrix, computing this mean, you have to write your own code. Okay. So most software package it will return the eigenvalues. with corresponding eigenvectors in this decreasing order. If not, then you need to do it by yourself. So that's why I'm telling you, if you find the functions which is there in the MATLAB, that I know this is again function is there, but in Python that you need to see which function that you need to use for computing this eigenvector from the covariance matrix. Now obviously it is a symmetric matrix, then mu1, mu2, mu_n, that whatever eigenvector that you have computed, it form an orthogonal basis in the n-dimensional real space. Therefore, see the information loss that you are going to have x minus x bar, which is I is equal to 1 to n yi into uy, which is nothing but y1 u1, y2 u2 plus yn un, and how the yi is going to be computed. Then if we have yi is equal to, it is x minus x bar. I mean, how much deviation is there from the mean transpose of ui? Okay, then it is a unit vector. There is a ui is equal to 1, and most software package it is normalizes ui to unit length. Okay, so it is a unit length to simplify the calculation, and if not, you need to do it by yourself. So that is the thing. So the yi is not nothing but x minus x bar t into ey. So it is this y that you have already found out. Now next is the dimensionality reduction step. Now you have to approximate x using only the first k eigenvector, where k is less than of n, and you have to choose the corresponding to the k largest eigenvalues where k is a parameter. So this is called the dimensionality step. Now you have x minus x bar is equal to I is equal to 1 to n yi ui. Okay, where ui is the basis vector in kth dimensions in the lower dimensional space. Now you have to approximate it using the first k principal component. Now that is x hat minus x, that is a I is equal to 1 to k yi ui is equal to y1 u1, y2 u2, yk into uk. Okay, and or you can simply write in this way, x hat minus x is equal to u of. Okay, so it is, as it is a vector, then you can also write in the transpose from y1 to yk, where u is equal to n cross k, and the columns of u are the first k eigenvectors of xk. So in this covariance matrix that you have already computed, these k eigenvectors. So now the columns that is you are having in U. Okay, for each column. So in the eigenvector, for the each column is called the first component, next column second component, then third column another component, so on. You can continue. So now the linear transformation, that is, you are going Rn to Rk, which performs the dimensionality reduction, that is a y is equal to, that you are going to get, that is u transpose tx in Rk, where k is less than of n. Then you can write y1 to yk, it is none other than this ut into x transpose into x, where you have u1 transpose u2 transpose then uk transpose, and x hat minus x. So the rows of ut are the first k eigenvectors. Okay, for each column. Okay, and the first k eigenvectors, because as okay, so as you are doing this u transpose, then obviously each row will be considered. But if you have the simple one u, it means each column will be considered as an eigenvector. But if you do the u transpose, obviously it will have the rows will make made by this column, and column will be made by row. Then obviously these are rows are the first k eigenvectors of uk. So now here is a hands-on example is there, like compute. So now you have to compute the PCA for this data set. So now the data set is given to you. Okay, so it is in 2D. This is, you have 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 8, 7, and 9, 3. Now you have to compute the sample covariance matrix. Okay, then that is in you have 2 cross 2 matrix. Obviously, as you are going to have the 2-dimensional data. Okay, now you are going to have, you have to compute it. Okay, by yourself. That is, if you have x star, you have to compute this mean of all this data. Okay, then you are going to compute this is a covariance matrix. Then this covariance matrix will be 2 plus 2 data. So yesterday I sent you one PDF file. So have you seen it?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in
If you
this PC data set, what is the dimension of PC data set?
yes, it is a two-dimensional data. If you see the PCA, this one PDF file was given to you. If you see, it is also a two-dimensional data. If the dimension is 2, then obviously covariance matrix will be 2 plus 2. Okay. So now xk, then sigma x, you can compute it. Then the eigenvalues can be computed by finding the roots of the characteristics for a polynomial. That is a sigma x view is equal to lambda view. That is a, you have to take the determinant of a minus lambda x. So capital A, it is nothing but this sigma. A minus lambda is equal to 1. Then if you just solve it, the determinant is 0. Then if you just solve it, you have the lambda 1 is equal to 9.34, lambda 2 is equal to 0.4. You can get it. Next is these eigenvectors are the solution of your system. Then it is just a lambda ui is equal to lambda ui. Then you can write that is a v11. You have this v11, v12, v21, v22. So that is the things. So you are going to write it in this way. That is a v11 into v12 into v21 into v22. So now these things is going to have lambda 1 into v11, lambda 1 into v12, lambda 2 into v21, lambda 2 into v22. Now v11 and v22, you have this 0.81 and 0.51, and then you have to normalize the eigenvectors, okay, to the unit length. If ui is a solution, then cui is also a solution where c is any constant. So this way also you can have, because x is equal to, suppose if you simply write x is equal to lambda I, lambda 1 x, okay, then a c x bar is equal to ca x bar, that you can write, and you can replace that a will be the lambda x, then c lambda 1 x, then lambda will just take out lambda, then you have this cx. So it is just a constant term. If ui is a solution, then cy is also a solution, or cy is any constant. So here also you have the x1 and x2, then you have this, you have to find how many data points are there. You have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, where x1 and x2, x1, x2. I mean, you have these two columns. X1 is one dimension, x2 is another dimension. Okay, so you just plot it. Then in the you have this eigenvectors, that is in v1 and v2 in this direction that you can find. And the PCA choose means the geometric representation that we already explained. Now the PCA choose these eigenvectors of the covariance matrix. That eigenvectors of the covariance matrix which will have the largest eigenvalue. The eigenvalues which corresponding to the variance of the data along with the eigendimensions. So that you have already seen it, and you have to see the sum of the eigenvalues is equal to the sum of the variance, and every component is called the principal component. Okay. Now the PCA projects the data along that directions where the data varies most, means you have the maximum variances. So U1 that you have, this is a direction of maximum variance that I already explained. U2 it is orthogonal to U1. So if you just look at my previous things, so in the previous example, that whatever direction that you are going to find, you store the directions and you look at its perpendicular directions. ठीक है, in the last class मैंने क्या बोला, you store that directions and look at its perpendicular direction. Now among them you find the directions with the maximum variance. Now you have two directions. Now you have to look at all of the directions which is perpendicular to these two directions. Now you find them, and among them you find the one which is maximum values, the maximum variance. Okay? So this way that you need to find out. How do you choose K? That is the most important question. The questions comes to your mind, sir, how do I choose K? So now K is typically chosen based on how much information means variance you need to preserve. Here that we are talking about this information in the data, it means the variance. So please remember. So now you choose based on how much information or variance you want to preserve. So now this is a formula I is equal to 1 to K lambda I that we have already seen, divided by I is equal to 1 to K lambda I and K by I is equal to 1 to lambda I. If it is greater than T, where T is a threshold. So we have chosen threshold is 0.9. Now if T is equal to 0.9, for example, we say that we want to preserve 90% of the information in the data. So I mean, it's up to the how much information that you are going to preserve. If you say that this you want to preserve this 90% of the information, then you have to choose 0.9. Now if K is equal to N, it means that we are going to preserve 100% of the information in the data. So just a change of basis. So now here you have to again compute the approximate error. So the error that we have already computed, there is the approximated absolute error and the relative error. The approximate error or the approximate error is sometimes known as a reconstruction error, which can be computed by there is a norm of x minus x hat. So where x hat is equal to it is called the yi minus ui is equal to y1 u1 y2 u2 yk uk plus x. So it can be also shown that the approximate error can be computed in this way. The half of it is I is equal to k plus 1 n of lambda I. Or you can simply have this I is equal to k plus 1 to n lambda I divided by I is equal to 1 to n lambda I. Okay, so you can also compute. This is a half of the things. Okay, means you are taking this half of these things that which is having. So now another thing is called the data normalizations. These principal component are dependent on the units. The principal component are dependent on the units which is used to measure the original variables as well as the range of the values. So now data should always be normalized prior to using the PCA. So that is the main things. So a common normalization method is to transform all the data to have the zero means and unit standard deviation. So whenever the data normalization is required, so please follow this form xi minus mu I by sigma, where mu and sigma are the mean and the standard deviation of the ith feature is. So data should always be normalized prior to using PCA. Okay, because principal component are dependent on the units used to measure the original values as well as the range of the values. So for the range of the values and this unit, you always it is required to always the data will be normalized, and this is a normalization formula yi. Now you can write yi is equal to xi minus mu by sigma. You can compute this mu for all the x's, the ith observations, and you can also find out the sigma. Then for each observation data, you are going to transform it into a new data. So now PCA. So now last thing is there's a comments that PCA simply performs a coordinate rotations. If you see these things in this way, the PCA simply performs a coordinate rotations. That's it, which aligns the transform axis with the direction of maximum variance. So we are just trying to find the axis. If you have the two directions, or if you have this more than two directions, that you are going to align. You are just going to rotation. So the matrix that you have now, so it is called the rotational matrix. This is a n cross k. So this matrix that you are going to have, the transformation matrix, it is called the rotational matrix, which aligns the transform axis with the direction in with this maximum variance. So those who had a course of the graphics, computer graphics, so they can be somehow able to understand. There is called the rotation in the transformation matrix, so that you have this, or if it is a homogeneous transformation matrix, it is a 4 cross 4 matrix. Then this 3 cross 3 is called the rotation, and another 1 cross 1 is a translations. Okay, so now you can think of it in this way. The rotations that aligns the transform axis with the direction or maximum variance, and the new covariance matrix is a diagonal, that is PCA simply decorrelates these variables, obviously. So and you'll have to note that if the data follow a Gaussian distribution, then the variable also become independent. So that is the thing. So these are the few comments that need to be studied. That is, if the data follow a Gaussian distribution, then the variables also become dependent. It means there is a, there is no correlations, zero. That's what it is called the decorrelates. And the main limitation of PCA is that it does not consider this class separability. You are not considering. The data are coming from the any classes. So it is not considered on the class separability problem. It does not handle it. Okay. So now the main limitation of PCA is that it does not consider the class separability. It is only considering information loss. But whenever there is a discriminating the classes, these things will be handled by the LDA, linear discriminant analysis. So now it does not consider the class separability, since it does not take into account the class information, because you do not have any level data. So there is no guarantee that the direction of maximum variance will contain good features for discriminations. So you cannot have any guarantee that the directions of maximum variance will contain always there is a good feature for the discrimination. So now whenever you are going to implement this LDA, so first implement PCA, then after implementing the PCA you have to implement the LDA. So that is the general way of implementing. So here you have to apply face recognition problem. That the same example that you have to do it. You have to implement. You have to develop a face biometric system using the PCA, and you'll have to see how the PCA can be implemented for person identification problem. Okay. So I'm not going to get into details, because whenever I'll be discussing in class in lab, so I'll just make you understand. This is all these things. So I'll share this PPT. So there is a very important paper. It's called, is it Turk and Petal and Eigenface for recognition, because you have these facial images, and this I have a step-by-step implementation modules that I'll share with you, and you have to, from this original face, you'll have to generate eigenface. From the eigenface, that you will have to identify the person. So this is very interesting PPT that I'll share. How do you do it and how do you compute it? Okay. Face detection using eigenface is there. So now these are the limitations that PCA is not always optimal dimension reduction technique for classification per class. So tomorrow I'll be discussing this this matrix. LD also I'll be discussing. Okay. So before that I'll just tell you about how to implement it. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
So there's a practical implementation of PCA on satellite images. So now after implementing PCA on satellite images, so you will be able to see, if you just plot it, each image, I mean for first principal component, first PC corresponding to one image, second PC corresponding to one image, because you have these 4 different bands. Okay, R band, G band, V band and I band. So now first PC corresponding to R band. So R band image, after applying PCA, it does not carry any significant information about the region. So region means, so by seeing these images, you cannot identify which portion belongs to a river class, which portion belongs to a non-river class. So now these dimensions may be neglected, because if you include it, because in classifications purposes, because classification means base rule, base decisions rule that we have already seen, that so it takes the redundant information, or it takes this not much informations, because that that is, you cannot find this, that information is variance in that particular images, so you may neglect it, because for increasing this classification accuracy. Second is also, if you see it, this G. So after calculating this PCA, second principal component for the G band. Okay, after applying PCA, it does not carry much information about the region. So now it is more or less that you can say that is a very difficult to identify, because all are these homogeneous things, because to detect this river and non-river, and there is an overlapping of this thing. So you may also neglect it. But a third PC, it will give it to you this, I mean, kind of things. That is, it carries the most significant information of V band, where the dimensional reductions will ensure that less computationally, and instead of taking this 4-dimensional, if you take, if you get along with the 2-dimensional, obviously your computationally complexity will be less for classification purpose also, and also it will increase this classification accuracy. So actually the images that you are going to see now, it is all contrast enhancing images, because it is not this actual image, because I have applied this contrast enhancement technique so that you can visualize it, whether these pixels intensities are really preserved in information or not, because you have just transformed this data or original data into a, from the higher dimensional space to lower dimensional space, or you can say the eigenspace, and in the eigenspace that you are trying to see, and this information is also good. Now how do you implement it? Now step, find the covariance matrix for 4-dimensional feature vector, and each image is considered 512 to 512. Okay, and for each band, now the size of the covariance matrix will be 4 cross 4. Okay, the size of the covariance matrix will be your 4 cross. Okay. Next is you have to compute the eigenvector and eigenvalue of the covariance matrix. So now if you apply it, then obviously the eigenvector will be your 4 cross 4, and eigenvalues, this type of eigenvalues that you will get, because I implemented it in MATLAB, so that's why long days back. Okay, so that's why the images that is going to have this way, but you will get exactly the same values. And as you can see, this all the diagonal elements is called the eigenvalues. Okay, as you can see, this is now from these eigenvalues you will have to choose the maximum eigenvalue. So आपका maximum eigenvalue क्या है? 40.2399 and 24 point. So these are the very less as compared to these two things. Now you have to choose only. So now 40, it is a lambda 4. So this eigenvalue corresponding to which principal component? This image. Okay, this dimension. Okay, so it is for the, you can have the U4. Next is 24.74. So this is for this dimension. This is called the I band. This is called the B band. Okay. Now for each value of the covariance matrix, the corresponding eigenvector has to be computed for each images. You have to do the linear transformation the same way that we have done it. Okay. Yk, I mean here there is a notation is different, but don't be confused with the notation. Okay. Yk is equal to I is equal to 1 to m, then aki into xi, where there's each xi means x1 I comma j. Xi is the feature vector. Xi is your feature vector, where x1 I comma j means x1 is called the first dimension, x2 I comma j second dimension means second image, x3 I comma j means there is a gray value corresponding to first PC, then x2 I comma j gray value corresponding to the second PC, x3 I comma j gray value corresponding to the third PC, x4 gray value corresponding to the first PC. Now if you have a transpose, a1 transpose means it is a 1 cross 4, then 1 cross 4 into 4 cross 1, then you have the only scalar value. Okay, x is equal to 1, 2, 3 features, then xi is equal to feature vector. Now these things that you need to compute. The first principal component in this way, PC1 1 cross 4 a1 transpose t into x1 ij, it means gray value components, gray value corresponding to the first PC, x1 for the first image, x2 for the second image, x3 third image, x4. So it is, you have this 1 cross 4 into 4 cross 1, you have the one scalar value. For one I is equal to, you have to make a loop form, 1 2 5 1 2 j is equal to 1 to 5 1 2. Okay, for each iterations you will have only one values, then that many iterations I is equal to 1 to that many values. Okay, then PC1 you have to have, it is an image, PC2 it is also image, PC2 and PC1 PC2 PC3 and PC4. Now few points to display the output image. Now apply this comment to display the principal component image for visualization purpose. I am sure you have to use this formula. Image show, histogram equalization, HIST-EQ. So I think that this function is also there in Python. Then unsigned integer 8. So that's why uint 8. Then output image 1. Okay, the first principal component is an output image, second principal component is output image 2, third principal component. Now, if sum of the eigenvalues is equal to sum of the variance, it means diagonal element of covariance matrix. Sum of the variance is diagonal element of the covariance matrix. Then eigenvalues for the corresponding eigenvector is correct. Okay? So these are things.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So here imshow function of which module to be used? I think CV2 and pyplot both have imshow functions. Which module's function is to be used here?
In Python, IMSO function is there.
Yes, sir. But OpenCV and pyplot, matplotlib.pyplot, both of those modules have imshow. Sir, which module's imshow function is to be used here?
You can see now, because in order to show the images, so if the OpenCV version is okay, or you can have this matplotlib Python is things. I mean, you'll have to check it that the which after applying these functions that you should get this image. So on which function that you will get the images, that I will have to see. So you have to first see the first one. There's a matplotlib.python. Okay. Then if it does not work, then you can go for the other one. Okay, so it's not a big deal to to show this thing. Main thing is that you need to implement this concept. Okay. So this will be your next assignment that in this next class. So I think if you just able to do it, then this will be more clear to you. Okay. Okay, so that's all for today. So we'll again meet tomorrow. Okay. I'm disconnecting.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, what would be the value of A we were using in for finding out the PC1 and PC2 like that? I didn't get that part.
Now for each pixel intensity values I comma j, so each ij means gray value corresponding to first principal component. Suppose you are going to compute it, because for each I comma j you will have 4 different values, isn't it? For
Yes, sir.
each I comma j you will have the 4 different values. First values for R band image, second value for G band image, third value for B band image, fourth value for I band image. Okay. And you have one transformation matrix that is 1 cross 4. Now if you multiply with 1 cross 4 with 4 cross 1, you will have only one scalar value. So first scalar value for I is equal to 1, 1. Second scalar value for I is equal to 1, 2. Third, you'll have to just do in the row wise. How the loop is going to be executed. So you have total 512 into 512 values, scalar values.
Yes, sir. About that transformation matrix itself, how do we get it?
Transformation matrix that you have to do by this is eigenvectors is there na. You have to compute these eigenvectors. You have the eigenvectors and eigenvalues.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, U1 is nothing but a eigenvectors. So now you from the covariance matrix you are finding the eigenvectors. From the covariance matrix you are finding this AI is nothing but a eigenvectors.
Okay,
So
okay, sir.
The eigenvector dimension क्या है 4 cross 4 है ना. If
Yes,
you just transpose it, you will have the 1 cross 4. So 1 cross 4 into 4 cross 1, you will have the one scalar value. ठीक है?
Okay, sir. Got it.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello. Sir,
Yes,
could you
yes.
please? Yes, sir. Sir, please could you repeat your last statement like 4 cross 1? Yes, sir. We got that transformation matrix is 4 cross 4. Sir, after that you told something about transposition and
Yes.
getting a scalar value. Yes, sir. Could you please repeat that?
Because your covariance matrix is from the covariance matrix you have computed this eigenvector. Eigenvector dimensions is 4 cross 4. The first column
Yes,
is
sir.
corresponding to first image. Second column corresponding to second image. Third column is third image. Fourth column is fourth image. Okay. Now you have to take out this A1 transpose. Then A2 transpose. Then A3 transpose. This way means AI transpose.
Okay, sir. So
If
that
it
will
is
give us 1 cross 4, right?
because if your column is 4 cross 1, if you just transpose it, you will have the 1 cross 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It is just a notation to represent it. 1 cross 4 into 4 cross 1. Then you will have the scalar value. Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
You have to go for this for I is equal to 1 to 512 and j is equal to 1 to 512. Because I and j is a gray value corresponding to, for each gray value is corresponding to which PC that you need to compute. Okay. So this is the way that you. So I am sharing the PPT, both the PPT to all of you. This today's in the today's lecture that I explained. So you please go through this today's lecture. This is very important. From these things also we have established this thing. Because you need to understand the mathematics. Okay, how this UI and UI is being computed, all this. Okay, so tomorrow I'll be teaching you the linear discriminant analysis. LDA. Thank you.
Thanks.